If you're the bottleneck of having to talk to every single client, having to sort out every single client's problems, you are going to be the bottleneck to your growth. You have not got the right tools, systems, you've not got the right delegated authority, and you're always going to be stuck in delivery and the doing rather than having the place of freedom. Get your thinking right, find the right tools. Let's get the team equipped. Well, welcome again to Scale to Freedom, the place where we're going to explore what it is to become free. And here we are in episode number 2. And the title of today's episode is The 3 Pillars of Freedom Most Business Owners Ignore. And I guess I just wanted to start that this is not just 3 imaginary areas. These are literally the building blocks that I've been able to use over many, many years to be able to create the freedom that I love. I'm here living in Thailand, recording this in Thailand. I've been here for 3.5 years, and the freedom that I now explore is the result of many years of trial and many cases error. And what I'm here in this Scale to Freedom podcast for is to help you to escape those challenges, those barriers, those traps that most business owners have. And these 3 pillars are going to help you to get the right infrastructure, to understand where the process begins and ends, and also to be able to give you some freedom in your thinking. And that's where we're going to start today. This idea of freedom, these pillars, an idea of freedom really starts from understanding where your thinking is about. And when we start to think about the way in which our minds work and operate, we've also got to understand the traps. And so often we think with our eyes rather than with the logic of our mind. We think with our eyes. And so therefore, when we go out there and we start looking at Facebook and all those different things, we start to interact with other people. We actually start to think about, well, hang on a sec, they're successful. I'm seeing this next bright, shiny object. And it's typically these days in the AI, in the technology, the tools that most people are using that they say is going to create the freedom for them. And that is the first trap. Once you start your thinking down the lines of, I've got a problem, what's my solution now? You're already heading down the wrong pathway. It's always going to have to start with your thinking. What is that mindset that you have to have that will create this first pillar for you to build upon? Once your thinking is clear and you start to get your inner game, what's that inner purpose about? What is those things about your culture? What are the things that you value the most? And then strategically start to move towards those things of the tools, the technology, all the systems and the leverage points that we have. Then you can leverage those tools to start to engage team, which is a third pillar, to be able to create freedom for you. So without further ado, let me just explore with you to start with this idea of thinking clearly, to have a mindset of freedom. And it's a very simple starting point. If you are not passionate, if you are not motivated, if you're not thinking about those things that are important to you first, everything else will distract you away from your core purpose. I call this the inner game. When we start to think about this inner game, what is it that's deep within inside us that drives us, that gets us out of bed, that keeps us happy, that keeps us energetic? For me, that inner game and everything about freedom is about, how do I do what I want, when I want, how I want, and take my family with me? I say this over and over again because my inner game, that thing that's true to my heart, is what I'm passionate about. And if I'm not achieving that level of freedom that I want, then my business is not working for me. And so I always start with that question: is this going to help me to achieve my goals, my inner game. That then means that my inner game has also got to construct around it all those facets, all the people that I want to work with and serve. And so I know my area of expertise. You need to know your area of expertise. And also in that inner game, who is it you want to serve? Because when we actually know who we want to serve, we know our inner game and our purpose, everything starts to become clear. And once we've got that, we can then move to our culture. And the culture quite often is about those things about us that we value the most. Is it fun? Is it seriousness? Is it about collaboration? Is it about people? Is it about being reclusive? You see, the culture you want to create, the culture that really emulates who you are, is what's going to help you to create that inner game and moving that into the culture of your business. And then once you've got this culture built, you need to have that before you start creating a team. If you don't have your inner game right and your culture right, how the heck are you going to create a team and keep that collegiately within your environment? And so again, the trick and the trap is to get that thinking right before you start to be distracted by what other people are telling you is working. What are the tools? Oh, you got to get a VA. Bunk them. You've got to get your thinking right, get your purpose, your inner game, and your culture. Then you can start working on the strategies. Strategically, business is like a set of building blocks. Now, my background is in building, and I love this idea of having this clear perspective on what goes first and what we stack next and what we go. If we don't build a solid foundation where our thinking is right, how are we going to build all the pieces on top of it? If we don't build that foundation right, it's going to be like sinking sand. It's going to be a stack of dominoes. It's just going to collapse. So logically, we know that we've got to get our mindset right, our thinking right. However, our world around us, the marketers of this world know the pain points that we're suffering from. They know that time is what we want to buy back. And they know that freedom is the number one thing on everybody's tongue when starting a business. It's a part of our DNA. We want to spend more time with our family. We want to spend more time with our friends. So what is it that really creates that culture and moves us into the right strategies? Well, having the right values, knowing where your values sit, it feeds in the culture, but also strategically, it sets for you what it is you want to do. So in the strategy place is where we start setting our goals, our big, hairy, audacious goals, those things that are going to stretch us beyond what we think is possible. And if we do not have goals that are going to stretch us, we will eventually just become complacent. So thinking, this first pillar is got three sections to it. This idea of culture. So this first pillar, this idea of having our inner game right, our culture, and then our strategy, which includes all our goals and everything. So the second pillar, a lot of people again go, well, hang on a second. If I want to get my time back, I need to have somebody else to do the jobs for me. Wrong. Once you go down that pathway, you start to get more team, you've got to ask yourself, well, what am I going to do with that team? How am I going to give them the tasks? How am I going to create the systems? What are the tools I'm going to show them how to use? If you're going down the pathway of trying to get somebody to actually then tell you what you want, you are now heading down the wrong pathway. The tools are your second step. So it's thinking and then tools. So a part of the toolkit you want to build, and it's quite a comprehensive toolkit that you're going to create. And that toolkit is going to start with the technology. There is so much technology out there. We're an absolute tech avalanche of information. AI is going ballistic. And in future episodes, we're going to explore these different tools and pieces of technology to help you to create freedom in a way that does not affect or distract you. We're going to get some experts in to understand that technology is just a tool. It is not the actual ultimate goal. It is not the ultimate thing that's going to create you freedom, because too many tools is confusion. The wrong tools is chaos. The right technology stack is what we call it. The right tools of technology will help you to become free. And then when you have those right pieces of technology, you can then start to build the systems. Now, a good friend of mine, a guy by the name of Dale Bowman, embedded this in my mind decades ago. And he said, if you're going to do something twice, build a system once. And so building systems becomes a real intricate part of your toolkit. If you are going to put on team, you've got to have the systems to be able to pass on and brief your team so that they get the outcome that you want in your business. Because remembering, thinking, inner game, culture, strategy, that's what you want to achieve. You need to communicate that. And when you build a system, that's got to be embedded in that DNA, in the DNA of how you do it. Again, we're going to get some experts in this area week after week here in Scalable Freedom that's going to show you how to build the systems using the different pieces of technology, whether it be AI or some of the old-fashioned school whiteboard notes, sticky notes, etc. How do we build a system that creates freedom? And then the third part of this toolkit is to leverage it. And so leverage is a multiple or multifaceted sort of beast. When we talk about leverage, it's not just about creating automations with the technology and systems. It's about what are the other things we need that takes us into that building of a team. What are the leverage points, the affiliate models, the different partnerships and referral partner models that are around? So once we start to think about leverage, we need to start thinking that's a part of our toolkit in growth. That's a toolkit that's going to help us to gain freedom. And it's going to move us into the space where we're going to start to build a team. Team, for me, is where it's at. Building the right team and empowering that team to do the right thing according to your culture, your inner game and strategy is one of the most challenging aspects for any leader and any business owner to go through. Where it all falls and rises and falls is in the delegation. Quite often it's in what we call the brief. I often am heard to say, you put garbage in, you'll get garbage out. It's all in the brief. And so when we're building the systems over in our toolkit, we're building these systems, what we're really doing is creating a framework to then delegate our tasks and create a clear brief on what we're doing. Now, we've got some amazing experts in this area that are going to come in and talk to you. Some areas of how do we delegate with authority, relationally, and within our culture. Because when we start to build a team, we don't want to become a dictator. We also don't want to become an absent leader. We need to create within our culture and build a team and delegate to them in a way that is really going to create an understanding of what we're going to deliver. Once we build that team, we've got a team. It's about deliberately delegating and getting our team to do as much of the delivery as possible. That's where you will become free. If you're the bottleneck of having to talk to every single client, having to sort out every single client's problems, you are going to be the bottleneck to your growth. If you've got to use every tool, do every job, start everything, build every strategy, create every chat GPT, create all the logs, write all the emails, you have not got the right tools, systems, you've not got the right delegated authority, and you're always going to be stuck in delivery and the doing rather than having the place of freedom. The last part in building a team is in developing them. And so once you develop this culture whereby it's about get your thinking right, build the toolkit, and then develop the strategies, that is what you need to empower your team with, to give them the tools to get the job done. I love Winston Churchill. In a time, the most difficult time in the world, he was faced with a real uphill battle. And he just asked the government, he said, hey, please, if you give me the tools, I'll get the job done. He meant the physical tools. In those days, he didn't have the technology we do these days. However, there was the equipment, the physical tools he needed to get done, and he needed the team. He needed the people to be able to get the job done. And so he had to then develop them. He had to delegate the authority, and he had to develop his team to have the same culture, to work on the same things, to be all collegiately working together and going around in these three pillars. Get your thinking right, find the right tools, let's get the team equipped. And when you're starting to deploy team, it's about getting them to understand what your thinking is. How do you know what the inner game is? They need to own their own inner game, and that needs to fit within your culture. So I hope this has been helpful today. Here we are, virtually only in episode 2 of Scale to Freedom. And here today, we'll be talking about what are the 3 pillars that is going to create a business that will create freedom for you. I look forward to sharing with you many, many more tips in future episodes and getting some absolute world-class experts in here. Some of the people I've already got lined up are amazing. And it's going to be awesome to be able to have some time with them, to pick their brains and to help you to become free. Until next time, please make sure you like and share this podcast episode. Scale to Freedom, your place where we will create freedom with you, for you, and it's all about you. Until next time, bye for now.